I can prove to you that Christianity is not real, and it was actually created by Paul, and it's Paulism in less than a minute. Of the 27 books in the New Testament, 13 of these books were written by Paul. Paul never met Jesus, but he claims to know everything about him. Paul is the one who has shifted the entire narrative around what Jesus' teachings were. Instead of Paul focusing on Jesus' life, he focused on his death and his resurrection. Paul claimed that his revelations were divine and that they didn't actually come from him. Paul also rarely quoted Jesus, and he introduced many key teachings that Jesus never taught. Keep in mind, while I'm telling you this, Paul is acting like a prophet when he was never a prophet. Jesus never came down to spread a new religion of Christianity. He was spreading the religion that already existed at the time, Judaism. Yet then Paul comes around and starts the church, and starts Christianity, which is not something that Jesus started. For me, it doesn't really make any sense. If we're supposed to be listening to Jesus if we're Christians, why are we listening to Paul? And why does Paul have any authority? And Paul is not a prophet, so why are we treating him like one? How can someone who's never met Jesus tell us the teachings of Jesus that we're supposed to be following? And if I'm going to make an assumption based off not knowing too much, I would think that Paul was doing it for personal gain, because he didn't know Jesus and he's the one telling us Jesus said that, Jesus said this. Where's the proof? Find me the proof that says that Paul is an authority and we should listen to him, because I can't find any. And this just reminds me of why I love the religion of Islam. Because in Islam, there's no confusion like this. It just makes simple sense. Worship Allah, and that is it. Christianity never existed, and it was actually created by Paul, and it's Paulism. Okay, in the New Testament, Paul wrote 13 out of the 27 books. He never met Jesus, yet in these 13 books, claims to know everything about him. You don't understand. Paul focuses on the resurrection of Jesus. He does not focus on the teachings that Jesus taught while he was alive. Really big red flag. Paul claims that his teachings are divine. And if we look at right here, keep in mind, Paul isn't a prophet. So how are his teachings divine? And he never quotes Jesus. He rarely quotes Jesus, and he teaches a bunch of things that Jesus never taught. There are so many teachings in these 13 books that have nothing to do with Jesus. So if we're Christians and we're supposed to be following Jesus' teachings, why are we following Paul's teachings over Jesus? Make that make sense. Why does Paul have the authority? Why are we treating Paul like he's a prophet? Okay? Paul did this for personal gain. If you look at this logically, he is an anti-prophet. He is not real. And this is why I love Islam. It is so simple. You don't have any of this nonsense. You follow the prophets, and every single one of the prophets leads to Islam. You can't prove me wrong.